I think the Bears are going to make it to the NFC Championship game
What?
as the seventh seed.
Oh my god. Welcome into the Fantasy Flow. This is a conversation flowing between NFL and fantasy football topics aimed to entertain. We are your hosts, Austin and Andy. Andy, how's it going?
Going pretty good. How about you, buddy?
It's going great. Yeah, we're coming at you. This is like a after dark episode of the Fantasy Flow. We're usually recording in the middle of the day,
Yeah.
but here we are. We're recording on 8/19. Weeks preseason week 2 is just
In the book?
are we in the middle of preseason week 2 or did it just
No,
end? I don't know.
it ended on Sunday.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and then week 3 is just a total throwaway week. I mean, they're
They're
all
all
pretty much meaningless.
Yeah.
That's a huge mistake I think a lot of people make, just overweighting things they see in preseason. I think if I can just get on my soapbox for a little bit, everyone's just so thirsty
Oh,
for
we're
football,
ready.
and you think you have it when preseason games are going on, but you don't. It's all lies. Do not read into anything. The only thing you should be reading into right now are the injury news.
Yes.
In my opinion,
Definitely.
would you agree?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I mean, poor fans. I mean, preseason used to be like something to go to, and like, okay, by the third, when there used to be four, by the third, my starting quarterback is going to play the entire first half, and I'm going to be able to watch them play. And now it's like, will the guy even finish the first drive?
Your family's been a long time Seattle Seahawks season ticket holder, right?
Yep.
So you've been to your fair share of
Oh
preseason
yeah.
games, which you get charged for, right? So
Yeah, we pay our dues.
yeah, no, it's a real bummer. I blame Sean McVay, honestly.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's a good idea, damn it,
Yeah.
but
It
it's
is a good idea. And the players
he
too.
started the whole sitting all your starters thing, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah. And the players too, man. I mean, I think a lot of the
Oh, they don't want to play.
yeah, they don't want
Yeah.
this. So I say let's just get rid of it, man. Like at this point, like let's just do one game.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the NFL needs to make their money, and people are still watching.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
yeah, that's always going to be the battle.
That's
But
true.
on today's show, we have heaters and freezers,
Heaters and freezers.
which you'll find out soon enough what that is. Don't worry. We have things that we're excited for week 1. It's been a long time coming, but
Yep.
we're almost here, and we couldn't be more pumped. And then to close the show, because if we gave it to you up front, we're scared you're going to click away. It's the more draft tips and tricks
Y'all.
to help you set yourself up for success in your fantasy leagues. Before we get to that, Andy, how was your weekend?
Pretty good. Won some money with poker. Doing all right in that field. And then
Nice.
Saturday, we went to, me and the wife went to a pool party. It was Barbie themed, and I didn't show up with any pink, but I walked out there with a nice like Barbie visor, and man, I'm like a polar bear, man. You can't get me out of the pool.
That's awesome. Yeah, you did your best Ken impression.
Oh yeah, Ken, and just cannonballs left and right. They had like scorecards for people could like flip numbers for how well your cannonball
Oh, that's
was and
awesome.
stuff. Jumping over huge inflatable balls into the pool. It was a blast.
Yeah, man, that sounds great. Dude, I was at a bachelor party for one of my buddies, and it was a blast. They live on a Gig Harbor, so we were on the water too.
Hmm.
We were able to jump in and splash around. We threw some darts. We shot some guns. We threw the football. Drank some drinks. Yeah, it was a great time. We went to the casino. I won a little money as well,
Yeah.
not on poker, on some roulette. I threw $40 down, and I just picked that right color
Oh
every
my
single time, got it
gosh.
up to 320,
Oh
and I
my
called it.
gosh.
I was the only one on the party to make money that night, which I feel really bad about,
No,
but I was.
no.
Yeah, no, it could have gone better at the casino.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna do heaters and freezers, and we're gonna start off with a freezer from Andy. And freezers, it's a take that is not a hot
Hmm.
take, kind of an uncomfortable truth that isn't as spicy, but it challenges you. It makes you rethink your life.
Yeah.
It gives you something to chew on. So, Andy, what's your freezer take
Yeah.
that's going to stop people in their
Yeah,
tracks?
you let me know how if this stops you in your tracks or not. So my freezer is going to be that the Saints are going to get last in their division, and Dennis Allen is not going to make it as the head coach by the end of the year. He's going to get canned midseason.
Mid-season. Boy,
So
okay.
give me your reaction one, and two,
Re-
if it's a real freezer or not.
sure, yeah. I mean that I would consider that uncomfortable. I am uncomfortable with that. I think it's a strong take. I don't like it because I really like Chris Olave this year. I think Alvin Kamara is a good discount.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but boy, yeah, I mean, you look at the roster from top to bottom, they do not have the depth that they once did. They do not have the youth that they once did. Their best offensive lineman's out for the year already.
Yep.
And we're no longer excited to see what Derek Carr can do. We've seen it, and no one's excited for it. It's yeah, it's tough. Kamara's never been older than he is right now, and Kendre Miller
Doesn't.
didn't have a great rookie year and doesn't seem to have the confidence of the coaching staff
Mm-hmm.
there. So I totally get it. I don't like it, but I don't disagree with it either. They're talking up Taysom Hill right now,
Mm-hmm.
which I mean, he's a huge sleeper, by the
Oh
way.
yeah, for sure.
If you're in formats that allow him to be played at the tight end spot, shoot, they're talking about him. Basically, they're talking about him doing again what he did last year,
Right.
which is be the goal line back, the short yardage back. And I don't know that that's a great, like, healthy sign of an NFL
Right.
organization
Right.
when you have a 34-year-old former quarterback taking snaps at running back. And who's starting at tight end if he's taking those snaps because Juwan Johnson's still hurt. I'm kind of making your point for you.
No.
I want to let you go. This
No.
is your take,
No.
but no, it's there's a lot of problems with the Saints right now for sure.
Yeah, and I think another just hitting on that note is the whole Carolina situation. They were god awful last year. They have a new head coach, Dave Canales, that succeeded with Seattle, succeeded with Tampa Bay. I mean, his track record is amazing. I don't think Carolina is going to be tenfold better, but they're going to be better than they were last year. And I just, like you just said, I look at the Saints coaching staff, I look at the Saints roster, what moves they made in the draft. Nothing screams we're trying to be better than we were next year.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think Dennis Allen is a smart football guy, maybe not a good leader of men.
Mm-hmm.
And all the shenanigans that the Saints general management has been doing with these contracts. And to really know what we're talking about, you have to follow football pretty closely. I understand that, but just take our word for it if you're not. The Saints have been doing weird stuff with the contracts of their bigger players, and it has given them short-term flexibility, but long-term inflexibility
Mm-hmm.
to where now they owe all these old guys a bunch of money.
Right.
And I think most people thought that, the bill would come due and that they would just plummet. And what we've seen instead is kind of a slow, sad
A
fade.
slow burn.
Yeah, no, it's really too bad.
Yeah.
And I think if you put all the blame on Derek Carr,
No, that's not.
that's
That's not
not
at all.
reasonable. If you put all the blame on Dennis Allen, there's enough blame to go around.
Yes.
And yeah, we'll see that by the end of the season
Yeah.
because I definitely I wouldn't pick them to win the division. Picking them to finish fourth place, I think that's a great freezer
Sure.
take
Okay.
because that makes people a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They're like, "Whoa!" But but Chris Olave's a second round pick. I mean, how do you feel about Chris Olave this year?
Oh, I mean, we've heard reports that him and Derek Carr have been working side by side, and they're trying to make that connection stronger. I just don't think. I think they're on different wavelengths. I mean, they've had what? This is year 3, coming up on year 3, right? So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I there's obviously a difference when it comes to how they play, and also maybe a little influence on how the offense is supposed to be run. And like you said, like they got this thorn on their side, and they're like, God, what is that? Taysom Hill, you're still here? God, gosh dang it! Like, what are you doing, man? Like, don't throw me the ball. Like, give me the ball. That's what Chris Olave is saying, and they they love Taysom Hill, and it works. But how much will it work? I don't know.
Dude, I love Taysom Hill because I've had Taysom Hill on some of my teams
Yeah.
as kind of a cheat code in that tight end spot. So I'm biased in that I just love the guy. I don't know how good it is for an organization, like I said, to have that as your RB2 slash tight end one.
Slash QB
But
two.
I mean, I love that guy. I think just to clarify, I think this will be both of their second year in New Orleans.
Okay. Okay.
Last year was Derek Carr's first year as a Saint.
Yes. Yes. Correct. Thank you. Yes.
Here's my freezer take. And I kind of went the opposite way. Instead of a team that most people associate with fantasy points, and going negative, I went the opposite. I think that the Denver Broncos. Here's what I wrote down. Okay,
Do
okay,
it.
okay. I'm not pegging them for the divisional round. Okay, I just said the Broncos offense is gonna move the football. Sean Payton and Bo Nix, I think they are on the same wavelength. I think Sean Payton went out and he got himself a guy. Maybe he overdrafted him. Maybe he was technically he's like an early second round pick. Well, guess what? They were in the middle of the round. Okay, so it's kind of like when you're in your fantasy draft. If you're on one of the ends, you got to reach.
Yeah.
Okay, they were in the middle of the first round. They couldn't find a good trade partner. They just took their guy, and guess what? He's going to move the offense because he is basically a poor man's Drew Brees with upside because he's a rookie. And you have Sean Payton, an offensive guy. I heard this take from another outlet earlier. He went through every single rookie quarterback, first round rookie quarterback. There's never been more. There's 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
6 rookie quarterbacks. One of them's J.J. McCarthy. He's gone for the season. The other one's Michael Penix, and he might not start at all this year. So that leaves the other 4. 3 out of those 4 have a defensive head coach, a defensive-minded head coach, a former defensive coordinator. That's true for Caleb Williams. That's true for the other 2. The one who doesn't have that is Bo Nix. Bo Nix has an offensive guru as a head coach who specializes in immobile, highly accurate, highly intelligent quarterbacks. And I just think the fit couldn't be better. And we've already seen that in the preseason with Bo Nix. He's been slinging it. And every time they take him out and put in another quarterback, the offense nosedives. It's his job week 1. That's all but confirmed. And I think it's kind of an uncomfortable truth this year that there's going to be some fantasy value on the Denver Broncos. No one's drafting any
No.
Broncos this year. They're all being left for dead, and especially that running back room. I don't know who it's going to be, and it's probably going to be multiple guys, so I'm just kind of avoiding that for fantasy. But for the wide receivers, I think there's some value to be had there. Cortland Sutton is definitely going to be the wide receiver 1 for an offense that's going to move the ball, okay? And then his college teammate, Troy Franklin, whom he had an amazing chemistry with. Bo Nix is going to find Troy Franklin. And Marvin Mims, he's in line for a breakout. So I actually think that the pass catchers are kind of sneaky nice over in Denver and that they're going to move the ball. How does that make you feel, Andy?
Yeah, that's tough. I guess I would say my first reaction is, of course, they have to move the ball. They're not going to score 0 points every game. But I think you mean it in more. I think what you're explaining is that they're going to be better at moving the ball than we think they are.
they're going to be in games
Right.
more often than the general public would think.
And that defense is also kind of sneaky good. They reworked it like week 4, week 6, or something like that last year. And so trying to rework a defense in the middle of the year, roster wise, scheme wise, is incredibly difficult. So I think now that they have had some time to iron out those kinks, I think they could be good. I just don't know how many points they're going to be putting up every week. That's where I'm uncomfortable with that statement. Is I have a hard time believing that they're going to be able to put up the points to win those games. I think so that's where I'm at. Yeah, you're right. I'm a little uncomfortable with that, but I
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
agree. Great freezer take. Great freezer. I definitely agree that the Denver receiving weapons are being slept on, and that there's potential for a lot of value there when it comes to fantasy football.
Yeah, I think that's great perspective. And yeah, I don't know how many games I'm projecting them to win
Right.
per se. But last year they went 8-9. 8-9 with a so-so Russell Wilson. Some would say a cooked Russell Wilson. And now you get a quarterback that is absolutely perfect for what Sean McVay's done for
Mm-hmm.
most of his career.
True.
Um, I'm just saying there's upside there that I don't think a lot of people are really acknowledging. And for one of your last picks, just throw Cortland Sutton or
Mm-hmm.
Troy Franklin on at the end of your bench and see
See
what
what
happens.
happens.
You
Yeah.
might be
Yeah.
surprised.
Well, I
Yeah.
like it.
All right, let's hear your heater.
Heater. Uh, okay. Okay. This is spicy. I'm going against the grain on this one. I'm going against what I've been kind of saying, and I think the Bears are going to make it to the NFC Championship game
What?
as the 7th seed.
Oh my god. Okay. Okay. I feel better about my heater now because I thought my heater was a little out there.
No,
Jeez.
mine's reaching. I'm reaching on this heater. I'm
Okay, hang on one second. I gotta. Okay. Okay.
okay.
Do your thing.
Okay, okay,
Do
okay.
your thing. Reach me.
Okay. So the defense totally reworked, right? Like we just saw them explode. Montez Sweat was the sack leader on the Commanders and on the Bears in one. Nobody's ever done that before. Their DBs are stacked. They got Brisker, they got Kyle Gordon, they got
Jalen
Jalen
Johnson.
Johnson. Thank you. They
Yeah.
got Simone Biles' husband. I mean, how do you say no to that? And I think DBs are really underrated in today's NFL, and to have that core as your DBs is impressive in my opinion. And now we got now they got an offense. They got Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift, Roshan, Khalil Herbert, Cole Kmet. I mean, every name that you say on their offense, you're like, okay, that's a guy. That's good. Yes, star, stud, compliment name, whatever you want to say. I don't think, and they have a really tough division, so I don't think they're going to win their division, but I think they're going to get in just barely, like the Houston Texans did with CJ Stroud. They're going to get into the 7th seed, and they're just going to luck their way to the NFC Championship game.
Luck their way.
Luck their
What
way.
a strong take there
Luck,
at the end.
luck is going to be a huge factor if this hits.
I hear you. No, it's a heater take for sure. Yeah. Um, Boy.
You can disagree. You can say this is stupid.
Well, no. I think the Bears are underrated. We've said all offseason, and not just us. I mean, the football cognoscente has said that Caleb Williams is being dropped into possibly the best situation that a rookie quarterback has ever been dropped into. I would say, coach aside, like just look at the roster. It is built to win now. It's like everything but the quarterback is there. Especially this offseason. They brought in Rome Odunze. They signed DeAndre Swift to a huge deal. and they're ready to rock. And Caleb Williams, so far in preseason, has just backed up all the offseason hype that made him the first pick of the first round.
The
I think there's a ton of reasons to be optimistic. It's just a matter of how soon that happens. And there's no rule that says just because you have a rookie quarterback, you got to pay your dues.
right,
Like,
right,
Caleb Williams seems like the best prospect since Andrew Luck. And Lord knows Andrew Luck wasn't dropped into as good of this
right.
situation. So I think that's super interesting. In terms of all the playoff success, I mean, we'll see, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Who's to
A lot of
say?
luck.
Who's to
A
say?
lot of luck.
Yeah, maybe some injury luck on the part of some other teams.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Like,
no,
what
I
if
mean,
they? Like,
there's so much unknown with this team. I don't think it's crazy to shoot that high.
what if they play Philadelphia first week of the playoffs? Right, San Francisco gets the 1 seed. They Philadelphia or Detroit get the 2 seed. Right. If they play Detroit, that will be their third time playing them. So good chance that they can win that. And if they play Philadelphia, we'll see how they go this year. But as we saw last year, they were very vulnerable as a high seeded team.
Yeah,
I don't know. That seems like a good wild card round, and then whatever, who knows, divisional. But yeah,
for sure, for sure. No, yeah, I kind of like that analogy of like the Buccaneers who are like they didn't have a ton of regular season success, but they made the playoffs and then they caught a team that they just caught them at the right
hmm
time. A team that was totally struggling to find some cohesion. I definitely think that it's possible. We see something like that happen again.
right,
You know, I hopefully it's not the Eagles again for the Eagles' sake, but
right, yep,
that would be wild. But yeah, so it sounds like you're kind of assuming you mentioned the Lions or the Eagles or something like that, that the 49ers
yeah.
are kind of locked in as that number one
Oh
seed.
yeah.
That's interesting because that kind of brings me to my heater.
Ooh baby.
My heater is that the San Francisco 49ers, pause for dramatic effect, go 17 and 0.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right.
We haven't seen an undefeated regular season team since you know when,
Yup.
led by you know who.
Yup.
The 49ers, I want to talk about what happened last season and just the utter dominance that they displayed from start to almost finish. Okay? Last year in the regular season, this team lost 5 games. Okay? 5 games. One of them was week 18. They did not need to win. They had the first round bye locked up. They started Sam Darnold against the Rams in week 18. Okay? Of course they lost.
Right.
So we're down to 4. Okay? 3 of those were a 3-game losing streak.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's right.
that was the Seahawks led the division for a hot
Oh,
minute
that's
when the
right.
49ers lost 3 games in a row, and they lost those 3 games because they were missing Debo Samuel and Trent Williams
I remember
for the
that.
exact same stretch. And man, there's been a lot of talk about Brandon Ayuk. I don't really want to get into it. All I got to say is that Brandon Ayuk is clearly the 4th most important offensive weapon on that team.
Yeah.
You can do the
Yeah.
math.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
Number 5. Is he the 5th most important with Brock Purdy, George Kittle?
Sure, yeah. If you want to throw the quarterback in there, I don't got a problem with that either. I think Brock Purdy is extremely dynamic, and boy, I think Debo Samuel is very important to them. I think Trent
Hmm.
Williams. You know, you can just. I would encourage you if you're curious, if you're skeptical, just look up the splits when he's on the team, when
Yes.
he's not on the team,
Yep.
and just see how the offense performs. He's so important. So you miss your left tackle, your all pro left tackle, and your all pro receiver Debo Samuel. You lose 3 games in a row, and then they come back, and then you start winning again. The last loss that I haven't mentioned was when they played the Ravens.
Mm.
They got a legitimate butt kicking.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no excuses. There's no way around it. Brock Purdy threw 4 picks in that horrible game, and as a CX fan, you know sometimes I just kind of watch. I just kind of put that on in the background if I'm having a bad day, and I just kind of watch the highlights of
Oh,
that
that's
game. Not
good.
gonna lie,
Oh, that's good.
but listen to what I'm saying, dude. If this team stays healthy, if their important pieces stay healthy for a full season, this is a 17-0 team. I don't know anyone who's taken them down. And you go look at every single power rankings that's out there. Every single offensive power rankings, total power rankings. Go look up Dan Hansis' power rankings, Mina Kimes' podcast. I don't care who you want to look up. The 49ers are at the
Yep.
top.
Yep.
It's them or the Chiefs at the very top,
Yep.
and I don't think it's that big of a stretch to just say, hey, if everyone stays healthy, 17-0. How does that make you feel?
I mean, you had me the minute you said it out loud. I mean,
Oh yeah,
oh yeah. I mean, that's a lock for sure. I totally agree. I mean,
it's a lock.
the minute you said like we haven't seen it since you know who on you know what team with that head coach. It's like, yeah, you're right. We haven't seen it, and we're freaking due for it. So yeah, I agree 100%. One of that Browns game that they lost to, I think it was like a walk-off field goal, and that's what started the 3-game losing streak. So I mean, you're right. I
Yeah, no, it's easy to forget. I was watching the Receiver Netflix show when they really took you behind the scenes
mm,
following Debo Samuel and George Kittle, and man, I all I gotta say is you can tell how important Debo was.
yes,
There was a funny press conference with Kyle Shanahan, their head coach, and John Lynch, their general manager. And John Lynch is answering all the questions, and Kyle Shanahan looks honestly a little checked out. That's not his game, the whole media thing.
right.
But they're both on the podium, and they're asking questions. The media, and John Lynch is fielding all the questions. And then one of the questions is about Debo Samuel, and Kyle Shanahan goes like this. He goes, "Oh yeah, I'll take that one," and he just raves about his favorite
Yeah.
playmaker on his
Oh,
team.
that's hilarious.
Assuming health is a dangerous game when you have a team that's getting to be on the older
Yeah.
side. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, in terms of running back years, he's up there. George Kittle's up there. Debo, he's fought through a lot of injuries now. He's not quite 30, but if you count the injuries and his style of play, I mean, it's not a safe assumption, but this is a heater take. And honestly, I'm just here to tell you, draft some 49ers
Oh,
on your fantasy team. Okay, as long as they all stay healthy, this is one of the best offenses in football, if not the best. And yeah, they have 17-0 potential.
oh yeah, for sure. I let's let's uh let's lock in the bet right now.
All right. Well, you can't go 17-0 if you don't handle your business in week one.
Right?
And guess what? Week one is right around the corner, my guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
We're what, like 14, 15 days away from kickoff?
Oh, I can't wait. I'm going. I'm going to the week one against the Broncos. Talking about the Broncos, I'm going. So
Seahawks,
yeah,
Broncos,
yeah,
week
yeah. I
one.
can't wait.
Oh man, yeah, that's gonna be awesome, dude. What else are you looking forward to when it comes to week one?
Yeah. I'm gonna throw a name out there. I've mentioned him before, but Kirk Cousins. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Atlanta's going to play, how Atlanta's going to do offensively, defensively, but specifically Kirk Cousins. I mean, torn Achilles, new team, new players, new everything. I mean, new city, like new life, really. Like, I'm excited to see how he operates. Like, is he going to struggle? Is he going to thrive? They play Pittsburgh. Is he going to are they just going to get blown out? Like, is Pittsburgh just going to put them in a hole and they just never can get out of it for that week one? I'm really looking forward to that.
What a tough week one matchup for Kirk Cousins, going up against the terrifying pass rush, the terrifying defensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Week one.
TJ Watt, Patrick Queen, Mika
Ugh.
Fitzpatrick. Ugh, no thank you.
You got Hayward right in the
Hey,
middle,
yeah, oh, I
just
can't even forget
running
about
at
that
you every
guy.
single pass attempt.
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be tough, and I am so curious to see how it plays out. There's like these competing storylines for me, whereas like I love to root for Kirk Cousins. I think his personality is just awesome.
Yep.
Like Kirk Cousins the dude is like a little bit more fun than Kirk Cousins the quarterback in
Yes.
my opinion.
Yes.
And but then you have like the Kyle Pitts of it all, and like the Arthur Smith. He left to go to the other side,
Right.
so it's kind of a
Oh,
revenge
it
game
isn't.
there
Oh
in
my
week
gosh. Yeah,
one.
you're right. Yep.
Yeah, so no, there's a ton of just colliding storylines, and I can't wait to see how it plays out. Hopefully, he stays upright. And I don't want another Aaron Rodgers situation
No.
going on
No.
here, but
No.
I'm super excited to see what that looks like. I think we're all curious. Another new face in a new place. I got two of them actually,
Okay.
and that's going to be Derrick Henry carrying the rock for the
Ooh.
Ravens and Saquon Barkley carrying the rock for the division rival
Mm.
Eagles. And from a fantasy standpoint, it's put all of our heads in a blender just thinking about, oh my God, you have these future Hall of Fame running backs joining these new offenses, both with incredibly dynamic running quarterbacks.
Hmm.
And man, where do we take them in fantasy if the offense is going to be that good? Are they going to score a bunch of points? Are they going to get vultured by the quarterbacks? There's so many layers to it. But at the end of the day, as just a football fan, I couldn't be more thrilled to just watch these awesome, just incredible
Duds.
athletes, total studs, on finally on good teams. I mean, let's be honest, right? Ravens, Titans. Who are you
Oh yeah,
picking? You're
Ravens.
picking the Ravens. Right? Yeah, yeah. Giants, Eagles. Like, I mean,
Eagles.
come on. This is it's just awesome. It's just like, oh, it's like something that someone wish casted, where
Yes.
they're just like, man, if only we could take this really good player on a bad team and put him on a really great offense. Wouldn't that be cool? It's like we get to see it week one
Hmm.
in both of these cases, and I just couldn't be more thrilled.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of hesitation because of the whole running quarterback, excuse me,
Sure.
with fantasy, but they brought these guys for a reason. They understand that their quarterback isn't going to last forever if they keep on doing what they're doing, and they brought these studs onto their team so they can help the workload out. So I'm excited fantasy wise and football wise to, yes, these two studs have just finally been rewarded to be, like you said, be on great teams, and we get to see how well that plays out. My second best thing to look forward to for week one is going to be Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, and going against those good old San Francisco 49ers. Now, again, Aaron Rodgers coming off a big injury, and we really haven't seen how he has played on that Jets team. And I am looking forward to see how if the Jets can even be competitive as a in against a top tier team like the San Francisco 49ers, specifically in that point of view.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I saw that matchup week one, I'm so excited for Rodgers to come back. I honestly have really high hopes for this Jets team, and I think last year was a fluke. And when I saw that week one matchup against the 49ers, I was like, oh God,
Oh no.
you know, yeah, no, I wish that it was just a layup. I wish it was a cupcake, and we could all just admire Rodgers, throwing just
Hmm.
bombs to
Hmm.
Garrett Wilson. But instead, we get this, M. Night Shyamalan suspense movie where it's like, oh,
What a
jeez.
great reference. Yeah.
And I mean, you mentioned it before we started recording that last year the NFL did a similar thing to all of us, putting him up against the Bills
Yeah.
week one.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
insane, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, he goes down immediately, and somehow the Jets find a way to win that game.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, right?
Gibson punt return for a touchdown and for the win. I mean, it was just like punt. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a punt. Like, just
I think so. Yeah.
insane way to win the game, especially with the circumstances of Aaron Rodgers going down on the fourth play. I mean,
Yeah, the undrafted rookie, the Hard Knocks
yeah,
hero.
yeah, the Hard Knocks
People are
hero.
following his story, and then week one he gets one opportunity,
He
and
wins
and,
the
and he
game. So cool.
yeah,
So
yeah.
cool. So yeah,
No, it's boy, yeah.
we'll see.
Jets,
I mean, and
49ers.
dude, speaking about coach's revenge game, Robert Sala, 49ers. Like that's gonna be
Oh man,
that's gonna be good.
I'm I'm definitely. I mean, you already heard my 49ers take.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think this is gonna be like the Padawan has become the master
No,
scenario.
no, no.
Yeah, I expect the 49ers to kind of put them in their
Oh,
place, but
definitely. But
I
if
just like you, I think that's must-watch TV,
yes,
and I'm very excited for Rodgers' return.
for sure, for sure. What about
And
you?
something else that I'm excited for, we talked about kind of these old guys changing teams and new faces, new places. Well, I got a couple of young guys who are coming onto the scene. The new age, the new era. I'm talking about CJ Stroud versus Anthony Richardson, week one. Colts Texans, week 18 last year. This game decided the division, and it came down to one final play.
Oh, that was so bad.
I know I just brought it up, but honestly, I don't want to get into it because Anthony Richardson wasn't even on the
No,
field,
he wasn't. Minshew.
and this is a completely different matchup, but you'd be lying to yourself if you said that both teams weren't thinking about that
Oh yeah.
when they hit the field
Oh yeah.
week one.
Yeah.
That's all the Colts are going to be thinking about. The Texans, they want to improve upon last year. Their expectations have skyrocketed since the addition of Stephon Diggs, and they're not going to let this young, what is he, 21 years old,
Yeah.
Anthony
Yeah.
Richardson. He's played in like 9 games or
Yeah.
something crazy. They're hungry. The Texans are young. They're hungry. They're going to get after it, and this is going to be an absolute dogfight. It's a divisional dogfight, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. I'm surprised that they did that. Excuse me, a divisional game week one. Like I feel like they've kind of been steering away from that, and I mean, yeah, after it ended last year, it makes more sense why the NFL chose that for the week one matchup.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm looking up the Texans' schedule to see when they play each other
Oh,
again,
okay.
right? Because everyone plays each other
I'm gonna
twice.
guess like
Oh,
week
it's
8.
yeah, it's in like the middle of October.
Oh, so fairly soon.
Yeah, you're right. They normally save those epic divisional matchups for weeks, 17 or 18. Not in this case, dude. We get
No.
it week one. We're having dessert first, is what it feels like.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. What's your last item that you're looking forward
Yeah,
to in
yeah.
week one?
It just is a big question for myself. Are the Seahawks going to be any good or not? I mean,
Yeah.
like who? I have no idea. Years past, there was always hope that like we're probably a playoff team. You know, if we could just get into the dance, who knows? And we're just right on that fringe with Pete Carroll. But with this year, with new head coach, new system, new everything, pretty much new everything. I just don't know how to feel. So, I mean, I'm going to the game week one, Broncos, Seattle. I'll see it firsthand, but I have my expectations are all over the place there, buddy.
Dude, it's a whole new world.
Yeah.
It is a whole new world. You and I were talking, and I had to look it up, man. Pete Carroll got hired on as the Seahawks head coach at the beginning of 2010. So I was 13 or 14, and you said you were 16.
Yeah.
So, like, honestly, in our adult football consuming life, all we've known is Pete
Yep.
Carroll.
Yep.
And this is the first time that we're seeing something different. And yeah, you're absolutely right. We have no idea what to expect. Yes, it's Geno Smith, but it's a completely different offensive scheme. It's
Right.
a completely different defensive scheme. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it'll work at all, let alone how long it will take for it to set in.
Uh-huh.
If
Uh-huh.
if the guys are gonna adjust to it quickly, if it's gonna work. So yeah, definitely something to watch. I do like that. I mean, I know I just talked positively about the Broncos offense, but that is kind of a nice matchup
Yeah.
in a week full of just epic clashes of titans. I feel like
Yeah.
Seahawks Broncos is a little under the
Oh,
radar,
for sure.
and it's a home game, so I do kind of like our odds in that
Oh,
one, and we'll
definitely.
talk more when we get there. But boy, yeah, it's a total unknown this year, and I'm honestly super excited for
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, I'm excited, but I don't know how to feel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's totally fair. Speaking of Clash of Titans, the third item on my list for things to look forward to on week one, it's a rematch of a wild card game in the NFC. I'm talking Lions
Mm,
Rams. They made a
love that.
meal of it last year. The Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford trade, and how it worked out for the Rams. They won a Super Bowl,
Right.
and then it seems like, oh wow, well when you look at it through a different lens, Jared Goff's way younger, and he can still sling it. And
Yeah.
when you surround him with talent, look who's on top now. But this is one of the best matchups of the entire week because both of these teams are legit. I don't care how old Matthew Stafford is. The Rams have a squad,
Yes.
and this game's gonna be. It's just gonna be good football. I mean, who doesn't love Dan Campbell? Who doesn't love Sean McVay? I mean, these are two of the most dynamic coaches, and this game is just full of fantasy football options as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
A lot of fantasy implications. And we get a solid rematch. We get two masterminds with Ben Johnson on the OC with Detroit,
mm-hmm.
Sean McVay and his offensive staff with the Rams. I mean, this could be the highest scoring game of the week.
Man, this was a 1 point
Yeah,
game in last year's
exactly,
playoffs.
exactly. Yeah,
It's
it
gonna
was a
be
blast to watch.
another one of those dog
Yeah,
fights, and I'm absolutely pumped, man.
yeah, yeah. No,
We're spoiled.
we're
Week one's
spoiled.
nuts.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
it's gonna be a good time. We're excited to get it started. So before we get it started, we gotta talk about fantasy football drafting.
Yeah, we can't get to fantasy football implications without the fantasy football draft.
Right,
So
right.
we got some last minute tips and tricks for you.
Tips and
Andy, how about you get us started?
tips and tricks.
Tips.
Okay, all right, all right. I'm going to talk about the top end of your draft here. I'm going to start with the tight ends and let you know that all the top end tight ends are pretty well priced out right now. You're not having to spend an arm and a leg for them. I'm talking about the top six: Laporta, Kelsey, Mark Andrews. Just go down the list or so about
Trey
six. Trey
McBride, Dalton
McBride, yeah,
Kincaid,
Dalton,
yeah,
yeah, the
yeah.
five. Maybe throw in George Kittle there at six. Well, however you feel. My advice, my quick tip is to target one of those six, five or six, and if they don't come your way in the first couple rounds, then just bank, just tank on that position, and wait. Yeah, punt it away and just wait it out. There's the difference between the 10th tight end and the 7th tight end, or the 12th tight end and the 8th tight end, is not going to be by that many points. And so by just telling yourself, I'm just going to wait till the end of my draft, I'm going to wait till the last 3 to 4 picks to pick up my tight end, is my advice to you for with that position. Just make sure to just take a moment and realize you don't need to fill this position in the 7th or 8th round just because you didn't get one of those top six guys. I'm really talking to myself right here, and I'm talking to all y'all that's listening. Just because it's an empty spot doesn't mean you need to fill it. You're going to have a way better chance of hitting on a wide receiver or a running back in those 7th, 8th, 9th round than you are hitting this monster crazy tight end that's going to skyrocket to the tight end too. Like, no, that's just not going to happen.
100%. Yeah, no, I mean, you can go in there with the best game plan, but then when you're actually drafting and you're like, okay, well, I got two running backs, I got two wide receivers, I got someone in my flex, and my tight end spot's still empty.
Right.
It's like, that's okay.
It's okay.
That's okay for another few rounds. You're going to be all
Yeah.
right. All the tight ends are basically the same. Just because you didn't get the guy that the consensus says is the next best guy,
Right.
A, the consensus is probably wrong, and B, even if they're right, the difference between those guys in like the tight end 7 to 14 range the difference is not that much.
25 points.
on the season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. On at the end of this year, the difference in points will be by 25, 30 at most.
I couldn't agree
Yeah.
more. And it was explained to me that if you're in a 10-team league, that means that about half the teams have a pretty good tight end.
Yes. Yes.
If you're in a 14-team league, that means most of the teams
Don't.
have just a so-so tight
Yeah.
end. Have just as good a tight end as you if you waited until the end of your draft.
Right. Right. So
So like, how big of an advantage does it give you to take the seventh or eighth tight end on
so
like
early.
ADP?
Yeah, and you'd have to take. You're gonna have to take them early. Like just wait it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And my tip for drafting, it can be kind of worked into that tight end space. I'm talking about stacking. Talking about stacking. I'm talking about when you take multiple players from the same team. What does that do to your team? Is that an advantage? Is that a disadvantage? I'm here to tell you that stacking is an advantage for your fantasy football team when it is a quarterback and a pass catcher.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been talked about if you are an avid consumer of fantasy football content, but I'm just going to try and break it down real quick. If you have a fantasy quarterback and a fantasy pass catcher on the same team, this guy can throw a touchdown to this
Mm-hmm.
guy on the same play, and that's mega points. Okay, their performance is going to be correlated based on what happens in that game. If one guy has a great game, the other guy's having a great game. In the vast majority of cases,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
If you have a running back and a wide receiver or a running back and a tight end on the same team, their performance is not as correlated. Maybe it's one or the other. They can't score a touchdown on the same play.
Mm.
So that's why stacking is an advantage when it's a quarterback and a pass catcher because their performances are correlated. That gives you a higher upside. It also kind of gives you a lower floor, which is why I would not recommend stacking when it comes to a risky pick, particularly on the quarterback side. If you have an Aaron Rodgers or a Tua Tagovailoa,
Mm.
someone who is maybe a little more injury prone, seen as a riskier option. Well, if you take that quarterback and that pass catcher and something happens to that offense, maybe that quarterback goes down, well, now you have multiple problems on your roster.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know,
Hmm.
you can shoot for upside, and most people will tell you if you're trying to win your league, go for upside, and I'm here for it. But I especially love a stack when it is just a nice, solid quarterback and one of their great pass catching options. I think that that's especially helpful for your team.
Yeah. You bring up a good point there. Now you got me thinking about what if their running back is a pretty good pass catcher. What if you're projecting that team's running back as a pretty good target for that quarterback. Is that worth that type of stack? Because I like that mentality of grabbing that quarterback and that running back, stacking that, because then no matter how the offense scores, you're getting points from it. But what really hit me, what really stuck with me is what you said is one of those two can have a great game without the other, right? And when you're stacking a pass catcher, the chances of both of them having a great, like, one can only succeed with the other, right? So just that, like you said, that upside and that protection you get with getting a true pass catcher, not so much the running back.
Yeah, if you have a dual threat running back who is going to catch a bunch of passes, I mean, that's a good idea kind of regardless of situation.
Right.
Especially if you're in a PPR, those running backs are going to be
Oh yeah.
awesome. It's just that their performance does not have as strong of a correlation based on statistical history
Hmm.
with the quarterback as it does with like a wide receiver or a tight end.
Hmm.
It's not as correlated like, oh, this guy has a great game, therefore this guy has a great
Right.
game.
Right.
It's totally case by case, and yeah, if you want to pull the trigger on an awesome 3-down running back, I would never advise against that,
Right. Right.
even if it's on the same team as a quarterback that you're targeting.
Yeah. Most teams have somewhat of a guy at the wide receiver one spot. Very few teams have a stud of a running back that can do it all.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
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 What's your second draft day tip slash trick?
Yeah. So speaking about somewhat of a guy or great pass catchers is I my advice is to take a wide receiver unless it's Christian McCaffrey to take a wide receiver in the first round. I think there's a lot of value in the running back. Fantasy football, as long as I've been playing it, has mostly been grab your running back as early as you can, and that is your rock because there are not very many good running backs. And I agree, that statement is still true, but there has definitely been a shift in these last 2 to 3 years of I want my wide receiver that's going to get me that could get me 50 points in a game versus my running back that could get at most could get me 30 31 if I'm lucky. And so people have been prioritizing these stud wide receivers in the first round, and I'm here to enforce that. I'm here to double down on that and say grabbing an AJ Brown, grabbing an Amon-Ra St. Brown, grabbing a Jamar Chase is way better for your team as an overall throughout the draft, and then grabbing a Saquon, as grabbing a Derrick Henry, grabbing these Jonathan Taylors in the second round, hoping, trying to figure out if they can come back to you and using them as your anchor in the second round and getting a great wide receiver in the first.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, even in the third round, there's still just great names from the running back position. I'll throw just a couple of them. Isaiah Pacheco
Mm-hmm.
is a guy I love. ETN
Yeah.
in Jacksonville. He's gonna take all the
Yeah,
work,
exactly.
and I just really like. I think you and I are on the same page that we both like the running backs in rounds 2 and 3 more than the wide receivers in rounds two and
Yes.
three, and then yeah, just the absolute stud wide receivers in round one are the difference makers. And I just wanted to clarify something. We say that we're more comfortable taking the running backs early. It used to be just a race to see who could
Yeah.
get those
Oh
running
my
backs, right?
gosh. Yeah.
And that's not like a old mentality. It's not like newfangled analytics like brought in this new strategy. We're just reacting to what the NFL is doing.
Yes.
So for everyone listening, this reprioritization of wide receiver ahead of running back in the top of your fantasy draft, it is a reaction to the rule changes in the NFL, the changes in play calling in the NFL, the changes in emphasis from the head coaches in the NFL. We're just reacting to what's been going on the field, and the top tier wide receivers are scoring more and scoring more consistently than the top running backs,
Mm-hmm.
with the exception of Christian
Yes.
McCaffrey when he's healthy.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
CMC
so
is him is CMC.
he's different, and you're not going to get him unless you have the 101 or the
101 or
102.
102, 102.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And my last draft day tip is I don't care what platform you're on, whatever platform you're on, it has a master list of names,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's sorted either by average draft position, ADP, or it's sorted by projected points. Hopefully, you're on a platform that kind of gives you the option
Right.
of which to sort by. You can click it at the top, and then it sorts by that category that you just clicked on. Sorting by ADP is whack. Okay,
Boo.
it's wild. You are riding the coattails of a bunch of people who know just as much, if not less, than you,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't read too far into that. You can play the ADP game, that, as they say, and you have two guys that you both like. One of them's lower down, so you might want to try and see if it makes it back to you. I respect that. You can roll the
Right.
dice. But what I'm here to say is that sorting by ADP is whack, and what you want to do is sort by the projected point totals that your league, your
Mm.
system, your platform is using. And when you sort by the projected points, now what you're doing, instead of relying on the average order in which they're drafted by stupid humans, you are sorting them by an algorithm and by experts who stat these players out
Mm-hmm.
and based on historical data, project forward what's going to happen this year. And when you sort it by projected points, well, it's almost like an arrogant assumption of you to be like, oh, I'm going to do something totally different. I know better than these algorithms. It's like fantasy football's fun. So we're going to draft the guys that we want to draft, right? I get it. But like what I'm saying is when you sort by projected points, you are leaning on the back of someone who's done a whole lot more research than you, I promise.
This is their job.
So that's something to take into consideration when you are in the room, when you're looking at that order and you're thinking, oh, well, I like this guy, but this guy's at the top. Don't get sidetracked by that. If you're sorting by just ADP, that doesn't mean anything.
No, you'll just end up with a team that basically somebody else drafted for you.
Man, yeah, that's something to think about. Yeah, whose idea was it? Was it yours or was it the consensus?
This is what the thing says I gotta do. Okay, yeah, you can go that way, but I'm gonna go get the guy that's gonna score 20 more points than that guy right next to you.
All right, I think that's all the content that we had for today's episode. I'm honestly super excited for the start of the season, if you can't tell.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we got at least one more off-season episode in us.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh,
Andy?
yeah, at least one, yeah. And I'm going to do another shout-out for the Guillotine League. Please feel free to leave a comment and let us know if you're interested. And send us an email. Our email's on the homepage. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all those fancy things.
Yeah. You can email us to join the Guillotine League, or you can just leave a comment, and we'll get in touch with you. Look, this thing is happening, with or without you. So jump on get on board or get out the way. We're doing a listener league, and we're super excited for that. So yeah, jump on board. Start of the year right around the corner.
Yeah, exactly. Looking forward to it.
Thanks a ton for making it to the end of the episode. You're a real one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That's a free, easy way to support the show, and it really helps us out. And leave us your comments down below if you're on YouTube, or send in your questions at thefantasyflowpodcast@gmail.com. Until next time. All right, man.
All right.
This has been cool.
Yeah. Well, thanks, everybody.